Welcome to the Brutiful Game. As always, unlike last time with Tony, I am Blake, here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And on tonight's episode of the Brutiful Game, we'll be discussing the incredible 7-goal FA Cup thriller between Manchester United and Liverpool, proving that even once in a while, a blind squirrel can find a nut.
Love a good blind squirrel, baby.
Played out on St. Patrick's Day in an instant FA Cup classic. Then we'll round up all the rest of the FA Cup action of the quarterfinals before we then run through a few Premier League games of the weekend in our 2-minute drill. Then we're going to blow the halftime whistle as the savior of the Smokies and the talisman of the talisman of the Tennesseans. That's a hard one. Ron shares with us all the news that's fit to drink in this edition of Ron's Beer News. Tennessean.
I don't
think
know if I
I've lived
spelled that
there
right.
a couple years and I have that. Yeah.
Right.
Finally, we're going to close the pod. I already said this already with the La Liga's roundup. As we recap the most wildest goals you've ever seen in Chicago. Why didn't that happen when we were there a couple of years ago?
Yeah, right.
It was windy enough, it felt like. Before going over the awesome goal scoring opening weekend in the NWSL, as the Kansas City Current opened their new women's specific stadium in style with 9 goals. Bay FC get their first win, the rest of the results from around the league. And then finally, we'll give you our NWSL picks and predictions for the first time ever on this here old pod. But first, our biggity beer.
Dun, dun, dun. Good job. So for ours, we are going all the way down under for our beer. Friends of the pod from Australia were in town this week, and they brought us a West Coast IPA by Hawker's Brewing Company. I just love it when people bring us beer.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi.
So back in 2006, the owners of Hawker's Beer were beer salesmen. And they used to...
The old door-to-door beer salesman?
Well, more like, going to restaurants and trying to sell beer and going to distributors and trying to sell beer.
Kind of.
Like that kind of thing. But they were also able to allegedly hawk beer on the street. So they'd grab a cooler of cold beer and hawk some beer on the street and try and sell it. So finally they decided, why are we selling it for other people when we can make it ourselves and hawk it for ourselves?
Why not?
So Hawker's Beer was born. That's kind of a fun, random way to start your beer, right? But
I love the term hawker and wish it was something we use more in the States.
We have a restaurant here in Orlando.
It's Asian street food.
Yeah, Asian street food.
Asian street food. So Hawker's, if you go to hawkers.beer, Hawker's is a fiercely independent company. And with our unconditional commitment to spreading flavorful beer, we will never stop striving to achieve our goal of converting 100% of the market to drink better beers. That's a pretty cool.
That's the slogan I can get behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pretty slick. They have a bunch of beers that have won Untapped community awards. So in 2023 alone, they won 8 awards, 3 silver, 3 gold, and 2 bronze from Untapped on 8 of their beers. So we are going to have a beer, their West Coast IPA. The West Coast style has never been accused of its subtlety. It's audacious, unruly, and it's definitely doesn't wait around for pleasantries. Unapologetic quantities of American and Kiwi hops deliver punchy floral aromas with notes of citrus, pine, and resin.
And Ron, can you tell us when it says serve at 4 degrees Celsius, what that is here in the old U.S. of States?
4 degrees Celsius is probably going to be in the low 40s.
Okay. All right.
I don't do the conversion.
Well. Hey, listen, that's better than I would have guessed.
I got to do the math in my head.
Jeez.
But it's going to probably be in the 40s, which we're a little cold. But one of the cool things about this this can is that they have this, and we've talked about this on other Australian beers. They have that rating system with the 5 stars, you know, and it's basically like a quick chart that shows.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, from 1 to 5.
There's no doubt what's the number one thing in this beer.
Right. Hops pegged at number 5. Malt pegged at 2. Yeast pegged at 2. 7.2 ABV by volume. If you're following along at home, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited. Thank you, Aussie friends, for bringing us good booze.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But, all right. Well, tonight on my side, I'm technically not part of the Brutiful game. I'm part of the distillery game. So as you guys know, last weekend I went home to my hometown. It was my dad's memorial service. And so my buddy Voller, friend of the pod, and I went out after the service to the awesome Weldon Mills distillery, which is it was an old like textile mill that they've converted into a brewery. Founded by a good dude named Bruce Tyler and Michael Hinderleiter, who basically were hanging out, drinking bourbon and saying, why can't we make this ourselves? And so they made this thing, which is on the Roanoke River. So Weldon Mills Distillery is the beneficiary of the pristine Roanoke River Valley water and its many natural springs that act as tributaries for centuries. The waters of the region were sought after by the native Indian tribes, British invaders, and revolutionary armies. Dignitaries and political leaders requested its shipment around the world for their personal consumption. As the base ingredient for our award-winning bourbons, this river not only enhances our products, but also provides a beautiful backdrop as you walk around the grounds of Weldon Mills. Also, if you want to learn about the history of the Roanoke Canal on the Roanoke River, my mom literally wrote the book. So 2 double ties into this. Also, this is
very cool.
not too far down from where my dad grew up. And locally sourced in North Carolina, what's the old saying? Something is only as good as the sum of its parts. Well, in our case, our bourbons are what they are because of the ingredients we use to make them. Everything we use from the water, the barley, corn, and wheat are locally sourced in North Carolina or North Kakalaki. Gentlemen, tonight I am having here, hold this up so you can see it. I am having the reserve bottle. Don't know how well you can see that.
Nice, snazzy. Pinkies up in North Carolina.
A small batch. This is bottle number 222 from batch number 40. 111.6 proof, 55.8% alcohol. Weldon. So I will tell you, a few years ago when I first was driving to 95 and saw the sign for this, I was like, what? I'm from Buzzardtown, North Carolina, y'all. It ain't a big place. So when I saw the sign for a distillery, I was like, is this some terrible distillery that it doesn't matter? It's off 95 so they can just get tourists to buy and it doesn't matter if it's crap. Nope. Turns out that's not the case at all. They make awesome stuff. I'll send you the link so you can see some of the awards to just their bourbon. But at the tasting, we tried their bourbons. We tried their tequilas. We tried their gins. Oh my gosh. They have so many good, but the bourbon is what they're known for. Their whiskey. So Weldon Mills Reserve Bourbon Whiskey, the one I'm drinking, is a barrel-proof, full-bodied bourbon. We use the finest North Carolina corn, malted wheat, malted barley, and water from the mighty Roanoke River when making our bourbon sour mash. Our master distiller makes his cuts just right on our small batch equipment, resulting in a premium bourbon that has taken top honors in many international blind tasting competitions. If you enjoy a bold traditional bourbon, this is the choice for you. Awarded Best Bourbon at the 2022 San Diego Wine and Spirits Challenge and Best Cask Strength Bourbon at the Olympics of Whiskey Competitions, the 2021 International Whiskey Competition. They have several awards for this bad boy.
Wow, that sounds good.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So I have got my my glass with my little etched Celtic cross on it with the gold.
Love it.
Or sorry, Chris. Sorry, Chris. I said Chris because I was hanging out with Chris all weekend. Love it. Ferris has got the nice little green gem on it since we just passed St. Patty's Day.
Yep. Love it.
And yesterday was the old man's birthday, so I will raise this whiskey for him.
All right, we're gonna crack our beer here.
Let's do this. Gosh, this smells so good.
Smells like hops.
It was a tough choice between getting their reserve or their all malt. It just means I got to go back.
Yeah. This means every time you pass it, you got to buy a new one you haven't had.
Well, the tasting room is like this, like 2 or 3 story, like 200-year-old building. It's awesome.
Oh, cool. Good color. The old IPA. Ooh, it's hops through and
Yes,
through
it is.
and through and through. All right.
Well, this is all sour mash smell.
To Randy.
To Big Randy.
Sure.
Cheers.
Tell you what.
So typically when we talk about IPAs and we talk about sometimes the hops just peel your teeth back, this is right on the verge of doing that.
Verge.
Yeah, right
Like
on the verge of doing that.
Like a Stone IPA vibe where there's
No, I don't even say no.
I think it's a little less than that.
I agree.
Like, but there's no malt balance to this.
No.
At all.
I tell you what it is. It is a basic, simple West Coast American IPA.
I feel like
just hoppier.
yeah, I feel like there's like 60% more hops.
There is more hops, but you don't. For me, you don't. To what you were saying, they don't really punch you square in the jaw there. Like they're there, they're prevalent, but it was such a smooth first sip for me that just gave me that. I know I'm drinking an IPA. I know I'm drinking a West Coast IPA.
I wonder how this is going to warm up.
So I don't mean it's just like, oh, it's a basic IPA, like very, but it's a very good,
right?
But it's true to that style, in my opinion. On
it's
on
not quite Skull Splitter, right? Skull Splitter is basically liquid hops.
It is what it says,
right? Right. This is like 40% lower.
Yep.
Tasty.
This is.
I'm wondering how this is going to warm.
We're gonna find out, or we won't. We'll just have it fast enough.
A ridiculously smooth whiskey. I only have I had like a shave of a crushed piece of ice in there. So it's pretty much neat, and it is smooth. The burn is on the very back. They had one Ferris you would love called Rockfish, which is like, that's the most famous fish you can get out of the Roanoke River, but it's like an Irish whiskey style. Fantastic. But this right here, their Weldon Mills bourbon, Weldon Mills Reserve bourbon whiskey, casks aged, is ridiculous.
Nice.
I don't know how smart it was to put the bottle in front of me because I wanted pictures of it when I came down here. That's more dangerous than just an empty can after you've poured it.
Right.
All right, gents. Shall we move on to the football? I feel like I need a cigar with this here whiskey.
So that
sounds good.
I've been hankering for a good cigar.
All right. Let us move on to the footy. We're going to start off with a little Premier League.
Oh, well, I didn't even change that. You're right. I should have changed that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the content,
and you are correct. So now there we go. Now reread that again.
It just changed magically. There it is. We're gonna move on to the FA Cup first.
Thank you.
It's like I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah,
like whatever you write, I'm gonna read it. You should throw in some random question marks here or there. The FA Cup. Hello, y'all. I'm from North Carolina.
Yes, you are. I wasn't going to comment.
To be honest, I can't wait to go back and listen to this episode after I've been with my family for about 8 days and see what it sounds like in comparison to like a previous episode. I have a feeling it definitely it came back pretty thick. Oh, I'm from North Kakalaka with a pot of neck bone. There you go. It's on like Donkey Kong and a pot of neck bone. Hey, not Brutal Game related, but I was pretty excited that NC State beat UNC that night in basketball.
Yes,
that was over the weekend. That was good. That was its own I literally said while watching, y'all look, it's on like Donkey Kong and a pot of neck bone, because that phrase was made for NCAA basketball. March Madness, baby. Well, we had some madness for this March in the FA Cup in particular. What a flippin' match. Dreams of a quadruple have been squashed by the rivals Manchester United as they defeat Liverpool 4-3. What a match between these two bitter rivals that went head-to-head in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup at Old Trafford and on St. Patrick's Day nonetheless. It was like a match made for Ferris.
Oh, absolutely.
We were all treated to goals in the 10th minute, 44th, 47th, 87th, 105th, 112th, and yes, the game winner coming in extra time of the second period of extra time in the 121st minute, which eventually saw Manchester United advance in the semifinals of the FA Cup in front of a rocking 72,000 plus crowd and denied Klopp and Liverpool that chance for a quad trophy victory tour season. Gentlemen, did we just see an instant classic? I mean, I think that is one that will be replayed for years to come, is either of these clubs, or that day when they've got a chance to win it all and they'll play like retrospectives and stuff. I think this will absolutely be on there.
Yeah. What a wild match. And we're talking about all those goals, right? And all those goals came in an ebb and flow of a roller coaster-esque game, because United scored early on a Scott McTominay goal. Then Liverpool, McAllister, and Salah, 2 just before half. And then get this, y'all.
Yeah, bring it.
Anthony scores his first goal in 360 some days with his right foot. I didn't know if at that point we were going to... It was like, hey, this is like probably it hasn't happened in 300 some days, so now we're going to win it, or no, we're going to lose in a spectacular fashion because he scored this and we're still going to lose. So then it went into extra time. It took a wicked deflection from a Harvey Elliott strike, third goal. So now we go into the halftime of the extra time. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there's 2 15-minute halves that are played in the FA Cup before they get to penalties. So in the first 15 minutes, Harvey Elliott from outside of the box hit one, takes a pretty good deflection, boom, 3-2. Then in the second period of extra time, we have Anthony playing left back. We have Bruno Fernandes, who can barely walk, playing center back along Harry Maguire. And then I don't really know if we had a right back, because Dalot was playing like a center mid. Ten Hag just threw every attacker out there, but we just happened to counter and outpace, which is the style that I did play. But at that point in the game, some of the speed got behind. A bad turnover by Nunez led to the game tire that Rashford slotted away to make it 3-3. And then that last one came off of a corner that Harvey Elliott kind of went to try to control to then get back into the box. And instead, Diallo kind of crushed in there, caused a turnover, got it to Garnacho. And those two, they're like, what, 30 years combined, age-wise? Like, they can run for days. And they just bolted down on a 2-on-1, and Diallo slotted it home 1 minute into the second period of extra time for what eventually would be the game winner. It's just, what a wild match.
I mean, all I could think of as I'm like flicking down, looking at updates and trying to check what's going on is Ferris is losing his mind. Oh no, it's out. Oh wait, like as each update like played at my phone, I was like, what is happening right now? I really wish I was having a beer with Ferris at this moment.
So I didn't actually see the second period of extra time or the first period of extra time, because the game was played at 11:30, right? So yeah. I told Mom, hey, we'll go down to the pub for lunch, because it was St. Patrick's Day. We'll go down there about 1:30. Figuring the game's over in 2 hours, one way or the other, right? There's no way it's going to extra time. So then Anthony puts that ball in 3 minutes before extra time, and it's 2-2. And I'm like, well, Mom, at the extra time, she kind of gives me a look, and I'm like, I know it's getting past that like lunch time. She goes, we can stay if you want. Mind you, I have it on my iPad because it's on ESPN Plus, and good luck trying to explain that to my mom what ESPN Plus is and how the hell she would even try to get it on the TV. So the goal goes in. I scare the damn dog, and I scare her when Anthony scores. So I'm like, no, Mom, like, listen, I'll just follow it on my phone, right? Like, I have the app on my phone. I'll just follow it on the phone. Like, it's all good. Well, you, ESPN Plus, because the damn thing didn't work and I kept getting error codes. So then I listened to it on Sirius XM,
Wait. You were getting error codes trying to watch it on your phone, like, at the pub?
Through the same app that I was watching it on my iPad. Tried to do it on my phone, and I kept getting an error code instead. I could not figure it out. It was driving me bonkers. I was madder than hell. So we go down to the pub for lunch. I'm listening to it on Sirius XM on the way down to the pub, which I hear Harvey Elliott score. So then about the halftime of that, we get out, we walk to O'Keefe's Tavern in Clearwater. They do this big tent and beer truck and the whole nine. So we go into the actual establishment to eat. And there's a little bit of a line. So I'm standing in line, trying to get this thing up on my phone as mom, I was just sitting there. I'm standing in line for a seat. Can't get it on my phone. I'm like, I can stay in the line. I can watch the damn game and figure out what's going on. Well, then I get an alert that a goal goes in, makes it 3-3. So I'm like, all right, well, now they're going to penalty shootout. I got to figure this out before we go into there so I can at least watch the penalty kicks. Can't figure out the damn phone. It will not work. Error code. I re-downloaded the app. Did the whole nine, right? Then the other goal goes in. I get this alert that they went in at 120 some minutes, and at first it didn't tell me who. It didn't tell me who scored it. And then I start seeing our text thread about it going in, and I was like, oh man. So I never actually watched it, but I did that night on a replay, and it was just as sweet.
So I will tell you, every time I go to watch an FA Cup match on ESPN Plus, we're never going to get sponsored by Disney, guys. It craps out on me completely. It is better if I'm on my Apple TV at home. Yeah. If I am off, it logs me out every single time. And I try to go back in, and I would wager to bet that anytime I've tried to use ESPN outside of my house, I have reinstalled and installed the app every time. Usually that works, but that must mean there is some sort of whatever their anti-password. This reminds me of the days if you were a nerd like me playing games on the PC and they started doing the digital rights media. You know what I'm talking about, Ron? Where and all they did was make it hard for people who legally bought games were more difficult. It would always log you out or not authenticate you or whatever. I feel like this is the same thing. The whole password.
That was so frustrating.
Don't want to share whatever. It makes me crazy. There's no reason that it shouldn't work. Hey, now, if you want to sponsor us Paramount Plus, you work great so I could watch Arsenal win that Champions League game. You were fantastic.
Or the NWSL Plus, the new one they just came out with. Yeah. I got that on my phone perfectly each time.
Well, you should check online. You might have got lucky.
Oh, really? I had no issues with it.
Yeah. People were having a lot of issues.
I had no issues with that app. That was great.
It was interesting reading that online. I always thought we should talk about that but also, I mean, that's its own conversation. That the NWSL is on a million different things that you can stream right now. But yeah, man, come on, Disney, get it together, man.
But what,
you know that kind of stuff doesn't happen at Disney Plus, right? So they know how to do it.
Yes.
Or Hulu. And I would go on and check, see, I can still get into Hulu. So why doesn't it work with this? It's the same friggin' login.
Clue,
it's the same. Yeah.
And I was just watching it on an app on the iPad. So it's not like I was, had it on my TV app. It was actually on another iDevice app. Anyways, but, I tell you, this match, when that goal went in, that last goal, Ten Hag, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but Ten Hag almost looked like he was going to cry almost in a way. It was how much he needed this one, how much the team needed this, how much they had to fight. They had to fight back from their own mistakes. They had to fight back from a number of things, from the critics to injuries to everything. And you saw how much it meant to them. But then in the reverse, you saw, that it fair play to Liverpool because they went for it as well. And they were going for it for as much as they could as well. In this game, once it got to extra time, it was anybody's game, and United just happened to come away with the win here.
Look, I don't want them to get a chance at a treble, so I don't want Man City to beat Chelsea. But I'm kind of, it's going to be funny to me if it ends up being a Chelsea-Man United final.
It could be.
Yeah, two teams that have no real business being there.
Right.
I think it's going to end up being a Manchester derby simply because.
Come on, Ron. Nah, Blues. I kind of want to see. I want to see.
It would be hilarious, right? It would be great, but the odds of Chelsea winning that match are probably not all that great, especially if it goes to PKs and we have players who are a little less than good at PKs.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a little bit.
But in the season,
how does Man United end up playing Coventry for their freaking semifinal?
It was St. Patrick's Day was a glorious day in the Ferris household. I'll tell you that much.
They couldn't have gotten a better draw, right?
Now, Ron, what about this? A Chelsea Coventry final. Now that would be wild.
Yeah, and Coventry would win.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is that the best chance Coventry?
Well, do you know the only other time that Coventry made the semifinals was in the 80s, and I want to say in like 1987. The time they made the semifinals there, they went on to win the FA Cup.
Ooh.
Now this match is at Old Trafford, I believe. So,
yeah,
stranger
things happen.
Have we had the magic of the FA Cup alive in a semifinal in a while?
I don't know the semifinal, but this weekend was a bit of that with even this match in a 4-3 game of. You know, most people thought in Liverpool, I think we play Liverpool at Anfield here in a few weeks in the league. We're probably going to get, it's probably going to be another 7-1, right? And that's what you thought going into this. Salah starting again. You know, you got Nunez and you got the Endo, McAllister. I'm forgetting somebody in their midfield, Obasai. Their new look midfield that's been playing so well. You got Van Dijk there at the back. Kelleher's been playing great. You're like, oh, they're going to win the game. And you thought coming out of half they were going to win the game, but
you may be surprised to hear this, but I think it's a turnaround, it's a renaissance, and I think you'll beat Liverpool, and then you'll end in fourth above Tottenham, and then that guarantees maybe an Arsenal Premier League win, and I'm great with that. I will support Manchester United for the rest of this run, straight on through.
You want us just to do damage to everybody else.
Well, knock Spurs out of the fourth. Yeah, man.
In kind of a Premier League talk, I think it was confirmed that fifth place will guarantee Champions League for the Premier League teams just this week. So now it'll be the top 5 for this season based on the coefficient, and we don't even want to get into that. That's almost as bad as Tam, Gam, Fam, Clam, Tam, Bram, Dam, Sam, Dam, and Bram. I don't know.
But Ramalama Ding Dong.
Yeah, exactly. But no, if you didn't get a chance to see this, I believe it is available for replay on ESPN Plus, as we just
watch it in your own house on your phone.
Watch it in your own house, but
do it elsewhere.
Just what a match! Two giant clubs going head to head with so much history, and it was a fun one. And as going into the international break, it wasn't Premier League, but it was the last match, kind of leading into that. It kind of leaves, and I want to say even Liverpool fans with, yes, they're going for a lot. They to get at the end of this, but how both teams fought, how both teams went at it, how both teams made these crazy subs, how they went for goals, how they entertained the soccer world on St. Patrick's Day afternoon is a really good advert for the game around the world, I think.
I mean, I concur.
Yeah, great watching.
And again, we have another week where both Ron and Ferris get to talk positively. Does it twice this year that happened? Now
something like that.
It was.
It also guarantees for 2 weeks we won't lose a match.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
International break.
Right. All right. Let's go over to the rest of the FA Cup action. Prior to Saturday, 8th in Championship side Coventry City, as we were mentioning, advanced to the semis over Premier League side Wolverhampton with a thrilling 3-2 win. I mean, Wolverhampton, too, punched above weight to get this far as well, I would say. Some very late goals in this one, as their tying goal and leading goal came in the 83rd and 88th before Coventry's Ellis Sims got his second of the game in the 97th before the U.S. men's national team forward Haji Wright netted the game winner in the basically the 100th minute. Go USA.
That you talk about magic of the FA Cup. That's it right there.
That's it right there.
And yeah, Coventry's, they're sitting down there in the championship against a Premier League team. Those late goals, a comeback, because they were up 2-0. Then they're tied 2-2. Or I'm sorry, they were up 1-0. Then Wolves went up 2-1, and then Coventry tied it and then won it with the dying moments of extra time. Like, that is also some cup magic right there. And a U.S. forward who just got called into camp. Kind of
I was
on the
just
back
going to
of
say,
this.
nothing says the FA Cup magic like a U.S. men's national team guy scoring the winner.
For Coventry.
Yeah. Well,
where does Coventry currently sit?
8th.
8th.
And you forget Haji Wright, World Cup scorer too. Remember, he scored in the World Cup for the U.S. So good match there. Very good match.
Yeah, and as we mentioned just a minute ago, the draw ends up being Manchester United and Coventry, which
in the semifinals. Yeah,
I think it'll be a fun one to watch. I think odds are Man United are the favorites in that, but it should still be a fun one to watch. There's a lot of heart in Coventry, and there's a lot of belief in Coventry, especially after this match.
And you cannot, and Ten Hag should show them this. Hey, you turn off for a second this game, and they can come and have a cup set, as they say.
Right. So now, which Manchester United are going to show up?
That's
and play?
the big question. That's the $1 million. I can't tell you that one even.
But Ron, mute Ferris so he can't hear me say this. This is all playing into our master plan. You understand? Because this is what's happening. Ten Hag, everybody's questioning, maybe this isn't the right fit for Man United. Big game against Liverpool. Maybe they get on to the final of the FA Cup. Maybe they even win it. And they keep someone that maybe isn't a good fit for just a little bit longer, Ron. And it helps us out next season as we play a little Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shell game. as they win just where they enough to stretch this out a little further. Okay, you can unmute Ferris now so he doesn't know. Ferris, come on back in, man.
Hey, man, I tell you, this was a hell of a match between Coventry and Wolves, man. I tell you what, we'll see what United do. Hopefully, Ten Hag wins this game and goes on to be manager of Manchester United for the next 10 years.
Amen. Amen to that.
Well, I mean, with the massive amount of change going on at Manchester United, I think it's kind of dumb for them if they're going to sack him, right? I mean, take a page out of Chelsea's book, right? You've bought a club, you are installing a new director of football, you've got all this new stuff, this new strategy, this new everything for Manchester United. If you get rid of Ten Hag, is there really that many people who are going to come back and do better?
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it's like we said on the pod before, if you're going to sack somebody, who are you going to bring in? It's one thing to say, hey, sack that person, right? Sack that manager, sack that coach. That team's garbage. Well, then who's going to come in?
But that's
also just as important as who you're going to sack.
Sure.
So if it's somebody like a Zidane who has briefly been talked about, that's an upgrade, right? So you have somebody to replace him if that's the case. But I don't mind what the new ownership group that's taking over the football operations is doing, because I think they're allowing it to breathe a little bit, let it see time. Now, does this mean that they may already have made up a decision, right? He could be sacked at the end of the season, and we just don't know it from their minds.
You got Zidane signing up to step in for next year. Wasn't that
right?
Take a look at it from the blue tinted glasses of a Chelsea fan, in the respect of it takes a very special manager to be able to withstand all of the massive amount of change that is going on behind the scenes in that club. That's not for just any manager, right? So it's going to be, no matter who's there, at least Ten Hag's got, he's commanded enough respect, and maybe all the performances aren't there, but it is an improvement in Manchester United since Van Gaal's days and all that. But there's so much change. I think it's really bad, coming from a Chelsea perspective, to just wipe the entire slate clean because you can.
Well, and you have to look at the game on Sunday. That's not a bunch of players not playing for him, right? Fernandes isn't playing center back if he's not playing for the club and for the manager. He's not making those substitutions to only leave a Maguire out there as the only true central defender. So you saw those players still playing for him,
right?
For him and the club. sometimes it's hard to see if they're playing for him or the club. But with the amount of substitutions, that really attacking style that he just put in, a Diallo, a Mount. God, we haven't seen Mount in forever.
Right.
He
was on the team sheet for the first time in 4 months.
Right. It's forever. So
wild. That's the crazy thing to me about like this whole lineup and that whole match was it was like a blast from the past, although they really hadn't gone anywhere.
Right. Right. It was, but you just saw like they were still playing for him. And I think that is a bit telling. Now, is that consistency going to be there from here on out? God knows it hasn't been all season. We'll see. But no, I think I think the ownership has to just chill, see out the season, make some sound decisions that are going to meet the plan that they want to set up, and then go from there. Because if you sack them and you have a plan and you have an idea of what you're doing next and what you're going to build in the next 3 to 5 years, and you can see that happening, okay. If you're going to sack him just to sack him because we didn't get top 5 or we didn't win the FA Cup, that's not a reason to sack him.
Right. Or he's not your person.
Correct.
Right.
I mean, that hasn't stopped people before.
No, it has not. No, it has not.
But I think it's a mistake if you're not looking around at other clubs and the way other clubs have done things. And
like the team just across the way in Man City, who we don't have to go much into this, but it was kind of a routine win for them.
I think our conversation is actually a good segue into this match. Because in the other Saturday match, we have Man City advance over Newcastle, courtesy of Bernardo Silva first half brace, which turned out to be the only goals, the 2-0 fairly routine match for City, which saw 4 changes to Pep's side that took on Liverpool last week. So this is Newcastle's last chance to like go at it because they are. Where are we sitting at right now with Newcastle? Newcastle's going to win the 10th. I mean, we thought these guys could get in the top 4, right? Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. You're playing Man City, so I'm not. I don't mean to say like you could win this match, but boy, did they look like they weren't trying. I don't know. Speaking of managers, that Eddie Howe, I don't think he's past this season. Because this is a chance to try and do something. I mean, talk about Man United coming out of nowhere after, a little rough form, and then they throw it to Liverpool and win 4-3. They don't just win like 1-0, 2-1, 4-3. Wild game. 2-0 to City, and it's like they didn't even show up. I think this game is a bigger deal for Newcastle than it is Man City.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the get rid of Eddie Howe by the end of the season. Remember the strategy that the Newcastle ownership and leadership team had. They've already exceeded, right, in terms of growth and building
above their weight just to make top 4 last year,
right? And so, being where they are is still better than it's been in quite some time.
Where they were about to go down half the time. They had in surge of cash, though. But
they are playing a great attacking style football overall in the season, including last year. This year, right now, they are in a horrible run of injuries, which is one of the main reasons that Eddie Howe is having so many problems. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 key players are injured. Kieran Trippier, Barnes, Nick Pope, Callum Wilson. And in this time when matches are so compressed because you have FA Cup and you have Premier League and you have Europe, Newcastle, one, doesn't have the massive amount of depth that a team like Man City has. They're also not used to playing on so many fronts with so many compressed matches this late in the season. So I cut him a bit of slack, and I think he will be around next year unless they fall to 15th because they're such a terrible part of the season.
The only issue I have with that is you look around the league this season, and everybody, for the exception of Arsenal, are the only ones really not hit with injuries. Even Man City to an extent, with De Bruyne out for as long as he was.
Yeah, but look at the depth on the bench.
I understand that, but I'm saying those are 2 big key players. Look at the injuries. Man United was up to 11 at one point. Chelsea up to 11 at one point. Liverpool up to 8 at one point or whatever it was. You have these other teams that are doing it. Now, it certainly plays in. I think what we're seeing with Howe, though, is a more expensive Bournemouth from a few seasons back, where they had, where they had those really fun games and they beat Liverpool 4-3 down on the South Coast and did these things, but then they eventually just kind of withered away because they were shipping more goals and they were able to score more goals, and then they went down. Now, Newcastle aren't in that, but now Newcastle started off the season up there in an argument for the top 4.
Right.
They're now down there in proper mid-table.
Right.
So, yes, Europe this season did not help them. They didn't even get past they had a tough group. They didn't get past that group. Injuries certainly played, a big part. But is that enough for, hey, Hal, you should have kept us up at least in that 6th range?
Well, there has been a shift in the odds, if they're worth anything. And currently, Vincent Kompany's still up top, 5-2 odds. Pochettino has moved up to a strong second, 9-2. Followed by Eric Ten Hag, Chris Wilder at 5-1, and then David Moyes and Eddie Howe tied at 10-1. It's funny to see how that moved around a bit within there.
Yeah, but all in all, I agree. If you're Newcastle, it goes back to the thing that we just talked about for Man United. Who are you going to get in?
Yeah.
Do you want to get in a Jose?
I don't think this is a time for panic. No. And the Newcastle fans aren't rattling the gates.
No,
against Eddie Howe. So
I just want to hear a bunch of Geordies chanting for Mourinho. I mean, Eddie Howe, you're a great dude. I like you. I mean, I wish you all the success, but I just think that'd be hysterical.
God, but Mourinho looks great in some black and white though.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. The merch sales alone might make it worth it.
Match night on Tyneside.
That's brilliant. Good job.
Flawless. Well, as alluded to earlier, Ron used to celebrate the FA Cup along with Ferris this go round. So now I'll throw it over to Mr. Keller for the Chelsea report.
Although it took some more late goals in the 92nd and 98th minute of extra time, Chelsea ended up advancing over the championship side, Leicester, in a 4-2 match at the Bridge. Palmer was once again probably our best player as he got another goal. But the same could not be said for one Mr. Raheem Sterling, who had probably the weakest pen I have ever seen as a Chelsea fan.
And then sailed a free kick, Riva style.
Yeah, he did.
Put one into orbit. It was a tough.
So, does Palmer scoring another goal help you or hurt you? Will you keep Palmer, or does that let you sell him for more money?
No, you keep him.
I think he's going to be kept.
Or are they going to bend a bit to make it work?
No, I think if they're going to
financial fair play. Sorry, I didn't make that clear, but yeah.
Sadly, I think if they're going to sell, they're going to sell home academy players, which means they're going to try and push Reece James out, and they're going to try and push Conor Gallagher out, who arguably next to Palmer has been our most valuable,
most industrious player for you. I don't know if you guys saw this, but man, Sterling got some boos, and Pochettino handled it well in the post match, basically backing him, but not completely going against the fans. I feel like that's a bit harsh. And listen, I'm definitely not a Sterling fan. Never have been. He's played for my 3 most hated clubs, or 2 of my 3 most hated clubs. Right? But I think he had a bad game.
Yeah,
he had a Nick Jackson style game. But like, what? I don't. Did you feel like you wanted to boo?
No, I didn't. But I think I'm a bit more kindler, gentler than the UK audience.
You're not about 4 or 5 pints in, and I get off the fucking pitch, man. You fucking shelve the ball. Everybody can fucking do that. What are you doing? You raptor running little. What are you doing?
I mean,
yeah, you're not quite like that.
No, I'm not.
Who was that?
That was Steve from South London.
Steve from South London. A new segment.
Oh, man.
We need the
Steve.
opinion column by Steve from South London.
Oh,
So
my
I did
God.
not. I don't think I get the impact of what the fans are doing, right? Showing how annoyed they are with where the club's going. And they're not, in my opinion, it's kind of misplaced anger, because the anger is really at the leadership and the ownership of the team, not really Sterling. Their chants ring out throughout Stamford Bridge when, instead of taking Raheem Sterling off, Pochettino took out Mudryk, and chants of "you don't know what you're doing" rang out. And I thought, Mudryk did look tired, so that's why he had to take him out. Sterling wasn't having a great game, but he also wasn't actively hurting us on every play, right? He did get an assist in it. Yeah, he maybe was a little selfish. And if you think about it, for that penalty earlier in the season, there was quite a dust up over Fernandez coming over and telling Raheem Sterling he's not allowed to take the pen, and he had to give it to Palmer to take. So that's basically the same thing that just happened, except there was no Fernandez around to tell him to switch it. So I think the other interesting thing about booing is you're just kicking a player when he's down, right?
Mm-hmm.
He obviously knows he missed the pen. He knows he skied the free kick. He knows he's not having a good game. He's giving the ball away a lot. And
It's a classic, like, if you had been doing better up until this point, everybody would have been like, leave him alone. But memories are short, and you've had a not great run, and so they're just piling on.
right. So what are you going to do? That's really going to reset his confidence quite nicely for the next match, right? So I don't know.
Or you really lose out on him because he really wants out of the club and requests to transfer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you lose money on him. And
so I don't know. I think it was a very interesting, the comedic moment of this game, which I still makes me chuckle, is our defender Disasi has a ball dropped to him. He's under extreme amount of pressure from the Leicester attacking. He turns and pitches it back to our keeper, who is nowhere near the goal, and ends up finding the back of his own net for an own goal, which starts to let Leicester back into the match. But the funniest thing about the whole thing,
lovely hit.
yeah, the funniest thing about the entire thing was that every time Disasi got the ball deep in his own end, the Leicester City fans screamed, "Shoot!" And if I've learned nothing about my time as a Chelsea fan this year, it's you got to laugh at that kind of stuff, because that was hilarious.
Absolutely.
So good on you, Leicester fans. Pretty good one.
Well done. And so as we alluded to earlier, Chelsea will play Man City in the semifinal, and Manchester United play Coventry. Now, i.e. me, these games aren't at each other's home stadiums. They are semifinals for FA Cup are played at Wembley Stadium.
Right.
Both the semifinals and the finals. So blue versus blue and blue versus red and one. And those will be played on April 20th.
Right.
So in about a month.
So Manchester Derby coming up.
For the final, maybe. We'll see. Again, 2 years in a row would be the case if that's it.
that's true. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Well, now shall we recap the other matches of Premier League weekend, which was because of FA Cup and stuff was a little shortened.
Let's do it.
As we ask one question of each match in our 2-minute drill. Ferris, you're up first.
Burnley finally win. Get in, son. 2-1 over Brentford. We are staying up. I said we are staying up. Say what? Nah, man.
Well, yes, if there's more point deduction, they might stay up. That's it. That's
they're
the only
not
way.
staying up. I'm just happy that Burnley got a win here. Good for them. They almost had one last week, and then stupid old West Ham came back and tied it up. But they actually held on this time and actually got a win. Good for them.
And they got Chelsea next. They got a chance.
It's true. It's totally true. Because if we've learned one thing about Chelsea, after a good win, we're a little complacent and lax, and then we get walked over.
That is kind of literally what I was just thinking, to be honest. Yeah, like you just got the win, and that could be the match.
Here's a question. Would Burnley have a better chance of beating Chelsea men or Chelsea women?
Men.
Easily.
Men.
Yeah,
without
easily. That's easy. I don't even know why I asked that.
Easily.
And that's without Sam Kerr for the women.
Yeah. Oh, we miss her.
There it is. And Blake, thanks to Ron for finally sending him that sound file. So next time I host this on my end, I can properly do no more analog buzzes.
I mean, I kind of enjoyed hearing whatever you were going to come up with pod after pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luke Berry comes to the rescue for Luton Town as his 89th minute equalizer is enough to earn the Hatters a crucial point in the relegation battle with Nottingham Forest, which as of Monday, that relegation battle got a whole hell of a lot more interesting as Nottingham Forest were handed a 4-point deduction for breaching the Premier League's profitability and sustainable rules. Now, guys, we should talk about the match, but because of what Ferris put there, I just want to talk about this. The basic conversation was the Premier League saying, well, since they complied with the thing, we're only going to do 4 points instead of 10. And Everton's like, excuse me? What's that precedence? Because we complied and we helped and you said it doesn't matter and you did 10. Now, granted, there was an appeal later and it was 6 points. But
hold on to that. Let me run you through a scenario here. All right, so currently that takes Nottingham Forest down to 18th in the relegation zone, 1 point behind the aforementioned Luton. Now, but that was 4 points. Nottingham can still appeal. But get this. The Premier League has penciled in a date of May 24th as the backstop date for any appeal. The season ends on May 19th. So what happens in a world where Nottingham get in this exact scenario, like take this right here, where they get relegated by a point. The season ends on May, 17th? 19th. They appeal on May 22nd. Their appeal is won. They are granted 2 points back.
Who handles the appeal?
Independent third party commission.
Right.
A separate one.
So then do we welcome Nottingham back into the league and don't relegate whoever was safe in 17th, and now we play with 21 teams
No.
next season?
No. So by all accounts, a new team is going down and they are staying up.
So, but if Luton stays up, right, at the end of the season, they're celebrating. They stand up. They survived it by a point, and then the appeal happens.
Yep.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yep. I think they won't celebrate much until the 23rd goes by.
That's only when the backstop date for any appeal. So I don't know if they have to submit by that date or
no,
that's when
the drop
ruling,
dead end.
Right. So a ruling could come on May 22nd.
Right.
You would like to think that these things come earlier. But, oh man, that's
Well, Luton Town, that's where they need to end the season.
Accumulate as many points as they can.
Yeah. Just as are we done with Everton at this point, or is there still a possibility they could get more points?
There's still a possibility.
There's still the possibility.
When you look at the Premier League table, there's stars by both Everton and Forest. So they have 2 stars for Forest, have deducted 4 points. 1 star next to Everton, who had 6 points. That was formerly 10 points. Now, by the end of the season, they could be deducted again and get those 4 points back for whatever. So they could also have a 10 just in total. So there's a number of things that can play out. The bottom of the table is just as interesting as the top half of the table. Why?
Unless your name is Sheffield, then you're just
or Burnley, but
yeah. Well, gents, so much for Tottenham gaining ground following their drubbing of Villa last week, because Fulham welcomes them to the cottage with a dominant 3-0 win over the Spurs. It's a great win for Fulham, but how big of a loss is this for Tottenham's chances of the top 4, gentlemen?
Yeah.
I think mathematically it's still a possibility. I just think Aston Villa has a little bit more consistency. Just a bit, mind you. I think it'll be close still. The other, I don't know if Man United catches up.
That was a great weekend for United. We beat Liverpool on St. Patrick's Day in a barn burner classic. And we also gained points on them without even playing a game in the Premier League because each of them only got a point.
Right.
So it's Villa in 4th right now on 56, Tottenham in 5th on 53, United in 6th on 47. That's a 6-pointer right there. I think for Tottenham, that's a bit of a hit. Yes, Fulham have been pretty good as of late, but
Tottenham have a tough run too.
Tottenham have exactly my point. Yes, yep, very good point. They don't come out of that tough run well. They may drop some points here, so I think that's and bad momentum going into the international break, both for them and Villa. But you're right. Tottenham have a tough set of matches coming up. So
they either get destroyed or they become kingmakers. I mean, that's kind of like the two paths they can take.
Yeah, because they have so they have Luton at home, then they have West Ham, Nottingham, Newcastle, City, Arsenal, Liverpool. And that gets you to May 4th. So that gets you through a bulk of the last 9-10 games. And then they only have a few more after that. So that run in April, from April 20th through May 4th, of Man City, hosting Arsenal, going away to Liverpool. And oh, by the way, it's
going to be tough.
You're going away to Newcastle in there. You're playing a Nottingham Forest team that now has to scratch and fight. You're playing a West Ham team that's still scrappy. And then thankfully you have Luton coming to you and you're not going away to Luton. So yeah, you're right, Blake. Not an easy schedule there. And speaking of Tottenham, with their loss, the next day Villa couldn't gain any distance as they needed a 79th minute goal to tie it up against West Ham. And sure, they had a late winner chalked off due to VAR, but a fair result from the match all in all, in my opinion. But Jens, do you have any issue with the VAR call there at the very end?
I think worse have happened.
Yeah, and I think in the end it took them, eight minutes to get there, something like that. But I think in the end they got it right. But it wasn't, from the angles they were showing, at least on TV, it was hard to see with the net and the defenders in there and kind of where the angles were, and to the letter of the law, a goal cannot be scored if it comes directly off the arm, whether it's intentional or not. It cannot lead directly to a goal, right? So the ball cannot go off your arm and straight into
the goal. It can
come
off your arm and hit you, who knocks it in. It can't go in. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So to the letter of the law, I think they actually got there. There was, Moyes wasn't too happy. It took him that long. Yep. And that
does this leave you just mentioned that the Champions League slots go to the 5th place. Mm-hmm. So does this mean West Ham is trying to chase Man United for that 6th spot for
but it's only top 5. So United is actually chasing down the 4th and 5th place. So in 7th behind in 7th behind United, West Ham are now 3 points behind United.
Yeah, what I mean is not the Champions League, but to get into the Europa.
I think so. I'm not quite sure if those places have changed either. I don't know if it's just 6th place and then 7th is the Conference League. But yeah, they would be fighting to get into Europe still.
Because isn't it 2 spots for Europa, 5th and 6th? And then 7th is the new one?
It might be, but with the coefficient, it may have shifted. I don't know if it shifted to where 5 or to Champions League. Now is the one. You know what I mean?
Necessarily moved down, and now it's 6th and 7th to Euro. I got you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, maybe we can send Ron to investigate that.
Oh, don't worry. I'm on it.
Speaking of Ron, let's get us to all the news that's fit to drink.
All right, gentlemen. Do you happen to know, Bears, you're not allowed to look at my screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is fun. All right, here we go. I'm going to turn around over here. Right over here. Here we go.
There you go.
I'm turning around.
Don't. He's like in trouble. Looks like he's a little kid in the corner. Like, put your nose in the corner.
You know what happens this time of year? It's like beer Christmas right now, or about to be beer Christmas. Because, gentlemen, a once in a year phenomenon happens on April 4th. Russian River Brewing Company's Pliny the Younger release. Yes.
Am I allowed to look now?
Yeah, you can look now.
Sweet. Nice.
Starting Friday, April 4th, the highly anticipated annual release of Pliny the Younger will be on tap in brew pubs of Russian River Brewing Company, their Santa Rosa and their Windsor branches. Thousands of people are expected to wait hours for the ultra hoppy pale ale, which has historically attracted beer fans from all over the globe. But gentlemen, this is a special year. Not only are they releasing a Pliny the Younger, it's the 20th anniversary of the brew pub and the release of Pliny the Younger beer. They've been doing this for 20 years.
Wow.
So, gentlemen, if you're going to go wait in the 5, 6, 8 hour long lines, brew pubs will be open at 11 a.m. and they close at 10 p.m. daily through April 4th. Pliny will be available each day until the brew pub runs out of that day's allocation.
That's key there. Key.
Yeah. Customers can expect long wait times. People are going to start lining up allegedly starting around 5 a.m.
That I will beat him at 12 a.m. in the morning before if need be.
Right. I'll be in a tent.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, this is like old school Star Wars style. Like
Old school Walmart and Best Buy style. I remember people used to wait outside of Best Buys and tents and all sorts of things back in the day.
Yep. So once you get inside of the brew pub, guests are allotted a maximum of 2.5 hours inside the pub. Each guest is allotted 3 10-ounce pours on draft of Pliny the Younger. And in celebration of the 20th anniversary, guests will also be allowed to purchase 3 bottles of Younger instead of the usual 2. $13.50 US a bottle, and a special 20th anniversary gift box is complimentary with your 3-bottle purchase. Gentlemen,
That's exciting.
it's beer Christmas.
That is beer Christmas.
Actually, it's more like beer butt Black Friday.
Yeah, there you go. Fair enough.
It's not so much Christmas. It's around that time period. It's more like, you got to wait in line. It's, highly anticipated. Got to get this year's hottest thing. Yeah.
When it punches you in the face for a $200 flat screen.
Exactly.
You get trampled as the doors open.
Can you have you? I don't know if you guys. This is completely off topic, but have you been to like a Target, Walmart, any of those spots now that sell TVs?
Yeah.
They're trying to give those damn things away now. They're so cheap. They're like big sizes too. We're not talking the little things anymore. $200 and get yourself a nice 50-some inch flat screen HD Roku tablet, freaking all sorts of things on it. Crazy.
The problem is when you kind of get into film and you become like a film nerd, and now I'm stuck with getting whatever Sony probably does that's good whenever I replace mine again. That's my problem.
I still have our. Sorry, go ahead, Blake.
I was saying, set to how the director envisioned the color, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I should have to get this then.
Right.
Yeah, it totally sucks me in and wins me over.
So the last time, and I can only speak for myself, I'm assuming for Blake, but the last time we bought a TV on Black Friday, which, I mean, Blake and I lived together.
This was
805,
4.
Yeah. So we went and we bought a plasma screen TV.
Plasma.
Yeah.
Oh, how ancient are those things now?
Because
the one that was like flat, but in the big box still.
Yeah.
And we played, was it the original Xbox on it? Or
It was 2006, Ron. You know why? We got the German FIFA, the World Cup. It was set in Germany.
You're right. And we played that thing for hours on that TV.
Yep. I'd look at when that World Cup was, because that was what we played the crap out of it.
Well,
I mean, maybe we got it in 05 and we got that after, but I just remember we played that game so much.
The funny news and the sad news is that TV, which is still in my living room, is just now starting to fail.
All video.
Hey, man.
It'll hold.
That's a great purchase then.
Yeah, I'll watch. Like we were watching the Liverpool Manchester United match, and because the scoreboard is up on that left side for so long,
It's like etched in there.
right for the next like 4 hours, no matter what color was behind it, I could still see
the score.
The score.
Oh, that's a TV I need.
That's
Just seeing that
brilliant.
score 4-3 over Liverpool.
Ferris will buy that TV from you when you replace
You
it.
tell me when you're ready for it to go. To have that on everything. I'll be watching a little Netflix. Just look up there to the left. 4-3 United Liverpool. Let's go. Get it, son.
Too funny.
Amazing.
All right, so that is it's a short beer news, but everybody, if you're in the area, you gotta go to Russian River Brewing Company and get yourself some Pliny. It'll change your life.
Wait, and where is that again in this United States of America? I want to say California, is it not?
California.
Yes.
Yep.
Windsor and Santa Rosa. Windsor, California, Santa Rosa.
Yeah. Exactly. So, gentlemen, that puts us back into the half.
All right. I'm gonna have another drink, guys, because mine was a small one. So
Good.
real fast. I brought something else from Weldon Mills Distillery.
Oh.
This is a more of a curiosity one right here that I've got that I found was quite good and had experimented what I thought it would be good with. But this is their Weldon Orchard Peach Elderflower Whiskey. This is a peach and elderflower infused whiskey that delivers on the classic Georgia peach flavor, smoothed over by elderflower to deliver a truly unique offering with North Carolina ingredients, a perfect served over a cube of ice. But I disagree with that because I have discovered, I guess this gets me back into Brewtiful game territory because this thing I'm going to add to it is brewed. I've discovered if I take this peach elderflower whiskey and then I do a little extra reed ginger beer on top of it. It's the bomb.
Lovely.
Interesting.
But now it's the mixed cocktail Brewtiful game. Oh,
Love
yeah. Cheers, gentlemen. Shall we move on to the La Liga's roundup?
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
So we'll talk a little NWSL as they had an awesome first weekend here in just a sec, but we need to talk about a goal in the good old US of A in Chicago, Illinois at Soldier Stadium, the Windy City. Talk about Kellen Acosta's game-winning, one of the most craziest goals you will ever see. If you have not seen this, go to YouTube or wherever to find this goal. To describe it, the goalie comes out in his own half and passes the ball directly to Kellen Acosta in his own half. Kellen Acosta, then in his own half, decides he wants to try to play the ball out to the right winger for a late 98th out of 99 that's supposed to be played to try to get the ball forward as fast as he can to get the counterattack. He sails that ball high. And then, whether it's Dumbledore, whether it's St. Mary's, whether it's Lord Jesus Christ himself, takes that ball and it like takes, I'm talking a sharp left. And then as if a bird was diving for a dead carcass on the side of the road right into the goal. It's the weirdest thing. The goalie out of position, I guess. He gets a hand on it. And what that hand does is slows the ball down and makes you wonder, that ball's suddenly moved down so fast that if he could get a hand on it, would that have bounced on the ground and then over the goal?
Right.
But instead it bounced in the goal.
Are you familiar with the Disney film, The Cat from Outer Space?
Am not.
So it made me think of that. It's on Disney Plus. I just remember seeing it as a kid. It's from 78, but it feels older. And it's a little cat who's like an alien from outer space and goes to a basketball game. And he lets the team win by using telekinesis. And the ball does all these weird things.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I thought of when I saw it. So this was a pass that turned into a shot, right?
It was one of those like wild golf like chip shots that you're trying to get, or not chip shot, but like you drive it and you're trying to get it away from the sand and the bunker and you're trying to get it over to the hole. And it has such just a wicked, backspin, English, whatever you want to call it on it. But man, it is wild.
It had no English on it. It had American on it.
Yeah, pure 100% USAD beef. American.
Well
Ron's
done.
gonna blow beer all over
Well
his
done.
microphone.
Almost.
It is, and as we said at the opening of the pod, we were at not exactly this match, but we saw the Chicago Fire in the stadium. What was it, 2 years ago, about this time in February or March? And it's cold.
And windy.
And it's windy because it's coming off the lakes, and you're going into this, I don't say medieval type dome, but you have to go through like the bowels of Soldier Field to then get up into Soldier Field.
It is kind of fortressy. Right? It is.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just
it is
an old stadium, right? Yeah. So then it has this big bowl, right? It has the old style NFL bowl to it that has this like big press wall that kind of shoots up on one side. So it makes sense that it happened here just from how that wind was coming in and swirling in that day. But this was a hell of a gust that he must have got it high enough like to in the bowl to then get it to, but man, that thing, it just go and see it if you haven't by now. I'm certain a lot of you have, but it is, you will, I challenge you to see a wilder goal than that. All right.
So one word to describe it?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even ask the question.
Oh, sorry.
One word to describe it, gents. I'll go last.
I'm going to cheat. Magisterial.
Oh, you took mine.
We didn't have a quote in earlier, so I thought we'd sneak one in.
Oh, good.
That was mine. He stole it. I should have gone first.
Mine will be 4.
Excellent. All right, Ron, using improv skills. What you got?
NASA, we do confirm the satellite trajectory. It is in low Earth orbit. That's all I got.
It's wild. Go and see if you haven't. We're a few weeks into the MLS, and that was definitely one of the crazier one, and also gets Chicago Fire their first goal. But more importantly, almost, or actually, I think so. More importantly, because there was some really, really fun NWSL games as they go into their first weekend of play here. And as somebody just wrote for me, get this, y'all. The Kansas City Current christened their brand new women's specific CPKC Stadium in absolute style in front of a sold-out crowd of 11,500 and hundreds of thousands more watching on ABC at home. I will say those numbers just came out, and those were in the 600,000 plus range. They were up there.
But it was weird, right? Oh, that was on ABC. It was on
big ABC. Yeah.
I have to track this. The NWSL is a little all over the place as far as where they're being covered.
Some of the games they have ESPN, Amazon, Ion, then NWSL Plus, where you are like in the 4 areas where you can find it. So ABC falls under the. We've talked about ESPN a lot this pod for some reason, but they fall under that umbrella. And great coverage of the game is at that 1 p.m. time slot, which makes us the second most watched regular season NWSL game. So wild. Both of those actually both of those games were the Portland Thorns were playing in those games. So this was a 5-4 thrilling win over the powerhouse Portland Horns by Kansas City. And this was a super fun watch because not only did they have this beautiful, and we talked about it in the last pod, this beautiful brand new stadium, $120 million that just is a women's soccer specific stadium. It is gorgeous. The fans there, kudos to them, packed the house. They have some great colors, good kits, good hats, good scarves. You had Pat Mahomes and his wife that had the ceremonial whatever I can't remember now off the top of my head what they say in Kansas City. It was like Kansas City hoo-ha or one of those type of I don't remember. I just,
like a who dat kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. I cannot remember what exactly it is, but Kansas City came out firing 3 goals quickly, and then Portland got one back before half, and then the second half was just mayhem. You know, then Kansas City went up 5-1, and then Portland got one back here, and then got one back here. You had a brace from You had a brace from Sophia Smith in this on the Portland side. You also had a brace from DiBernardo or well, maybe you had a goal and assist from DiBernardo in this. You had the youngest goal scorer in NWSL history, Alexander Pfeiffer at 16 years old and change scoring in this. And that was the 5th at the time and ended up being the game winner at the end of it. But you had 17 shots from Casey, 18 from Portland, 8 on goal from Portland, 7 on from Casey, 6 corners to 4, 15 crosses almost a piece. You had a bit of everything. And what a hell of a game to kind of open. I won't say open the NWSL weekend here. We'll talk about that match here in a second. But on a Saturday at 1 o'clock when there's no college, there's no NFL, this was a great, great advert for the league.
Just to on the watching front, I went to our buddies of World Soccer Talk that we enjoy because they're great for tracking how you watch stuff. It is a little all over the place this go round. I'd recommend because the NWSL matches are awesome to watch. So to watch NWSL, I'll give you like this coming Friday, this weekend. So Friday's Orlando Pride in Angel City is Amazon Video Prime, which I got to be honest, I missed that. I did not realize that was going to be on Amazon.
And is their Friday game of the week? I think they'll always have a game on that on Fridays.
The Royals in North Carolina, they're NWSL Plus. The next day for Chicago and Seattle. Then Washington Spirit and the Bay are Ion and Fubo. Dash and Racing Louisville are NWSL Plus. San Diego Wave Kansas City are Ion and Fubo. Sunday, the Portland Thorns and Gotham are ESPN2, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Plus, and Fubo. So it is a little. I kind of saw some buzz about this weekend while I was out of town, just kind of following the old Twitter and seeing what people were saying. And there was a little bit of confusion about how to watch things and stuff. I think people assume that NWSL Plus would get you everything, and it looks like that might not be true. Or it worked on the computer, but not on the phones as well, or something.
It's also free.
Fair enough.
So you're not paying for another thing, and I never had an issue with it. I was able to bring up the games, watch them on my phone, and really didn't have an issue with it at all.
Say something because the danger is I keep up with stuff, and I wasn't aware of some of this. Do you know what I mean? And so, first time impressions, trying to get people on, so if you're interested, check those things. But worldsoccertalk.com, great place.
And if you're interested in every week, the NWSL on all of their socials is putting out, here's the match week of games. And then right to the right has where it's being shown.
They're job of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, their site's good too. The site is much better than MLS soccer. There's just NWSLsoccer.com. Hell, that makes sense. A lot of places to watch, and on that Amazon game that you're just talking about, that was played the night before on Friday, and that was actually the 2004 Challenge Cup. Now, a new format to the Challenge Cup. This is no longer a FA Cup style in-season tournament style. This is think more Community Shield, right? To kick off the season, a friendly between who won the championship and who won the Shield. It happened to be Gotham won the championship, Wave won the Shield last year. Now, if it's the Wave each year, I think they take the second place team in the table. But this was decided very late in the game, 80 some type minute, where star forward Alex Morgan headed home the game winner for the Wave to win 1-0 over the absolutely U.S. women's national team late in Gotham FC. Fun match to start it. Good coverage, good commentary. Another good advert for the league. Yes, on a different platform than what we're used to, a different platform than what Saturday was on and Sunday's games were on. But you're getting solid coverage. You're getting solid commentary. You're getting these games seen. And I think different avenues is a bad thing for a lot of people in terms of what you just said, a lot of different apps to see it. But I think it's also a good thing because it offers it to more people in general, right?
Prime's a great one. I know a lot of people that have Prime just for the shipping purposes, right? And stuff. So
right,
that's a good one to have it on. We've just kind of gotten Unfortunately, you're thinking of an American soccer, you think of MLS, think NWSL. MLS is only in one spot. Yes, they also do TV with Fox. And, I can just see how it can be confusing. A Premier League is all on NBC, even though, yes, there's Peacock and live TV NBC, but, it's a little more spread out than that. But
yeah, but it's a good deal. As we talked about on the last pod with Tony, it was this multi-million-dollar deal with all 4 of these, and that just brings more eyes and more cash flow into the league. So a very good thing. Yep. Get this, y'all. Now, the rest of the matches from the goal-scoring weekend started off. The next game after that Kansas City game was 2 goals and a Emmen down. Our Orlando Pride nicked a point on the road away to Racing Louisville, courtesy of a late Summer Yates goal, her first in the NWSL, with a 2-2 draw. Hey, listen, the kits are interesting. They're very peachy color on TV. I tell you, they look better in person.
Yeah, the orange doesn't come through on TV.
No, it looks more just
you gotta make sure you get TV
Yeah, they look a little creamsicle.
Yeah.
But they don't in person.
Correct.
Yes. But good fight back from the Pride here on the road. A weak Kylie Strom, second yellow here. But all in all, you fight back, you get a point on the road to start. 4 goals. You get another really young first goal scorer here for Louisville, Alexa Barr, who netted a beautiful kind of chip and caught Morehouse off her line. And we'll see. I'll be at the home opener for the Pride on Friday against Angel City. So hopefully we can get a win there. But two teams that did not make the playoffs last year, but always play each other close. And that's what you saw here in the first game. North Carolina, top of the table, because they put up 5 in a rout over the Houston Dash behind a Bianca St. George brace on the night, where they were honoring the great Sam Mewis, who helped them to win 3 NWSL championships. They retired her jersey, and just North Carolina was just, you saw so many things on social media. They just absolutely just adore her there, and no better way to induct her than a 5-1 rout of the Dash.
That's a good way to do it. Win it for Mewis.
Win it from US. I love it. And if you don't know this yet, I can't remember if we said it on the last pod or not, but she is part of the Men in Blazers podcast network.
We did.
With the Women's Game podcast, and you can catch her every week. Great stuff from her and the guests that she's having on that. So give that a listen. Mallory Swanson returned after being out for majority of last year due to a season-ending injury. And Alyssa Nair shines as the Chicago Red Stars ruin the Utah Royals, return to the league with a 2-0 win in Utah.
Welcome to the NWSL Part 2, guys. Or ladies.
Exactly. So good to see formerly Mal Pugh, but Mal Swanson returning here. Just good to see her out there. Was very minded, as you can expect, caused havoc up there. Didn't get on the actual stat sheet in terms of a goal or assist in this, but she will get into stride. She will get into form. And Nair made five saves. A big game from her, coming off a great Gold Cup tournament for her. So Chicago, much better than what they will be next year. They were last in the league last year. So we'll see kind of where they come in our picks here. But they should be much better as long as Mal Swanson and Alyssa Nair stay healthy. But there's a lot of internationals this year, so we'll see. With the now retired Megan Rapinoe in attendance and watching on the Seattle Reign with the return of the Queen logo, might it be stated. Yep.
I like that one better than everything else.
I agree. Hang on to a 33rd minute goal by Bethany Balser to get a 1-0 win over the visiting Washington Spirit. Good, solid win from them. Really, really early goal. I think, as I said, in the 3rd minute there. Should be noted, the Reign just got bought by a conglomerate group that also owns Seattle Sounders. And San Diego Wave also was bought for a record amount of like $120 million. So a couple of acquisitions here in the league that are hopefully going to be very well for these teams and the cash flow into these. But for a Seattle organization to be then buying Seattle Reign, remember, that's under the thumb of and getting them away from the Olympic ENA's umbrella, which is what they were called for a very long time. So, because they're Seattle Reign OL, so they're kind of getting away from that, hopefully, and being a staple in Seattle. And with the last match of the first match week in the NWSL in Los Angeles and on the road, the new club of Bay FC behind a solo strike from former Barcelona forward Asante Oshala. I think I said that right. In the 17th minute as they hang on for their first win as a club in the 2024 season over Angel City. Good win for them on the road.
Yeah.
Very, very good win to start the campaign off, to start this new crest, to start, this club, some big forwards in this, and already coming good with that strike.
They weathered a bit of a storm, grind out a match against a tough Angel City opponent. So that's some good, good morale moving forward.
Yeah, and you'll see Bay FC. A good win from them. Thing for them, the question for them is: are they going to be consistent? Are they going to be consistent throughout the season to keep picking up these wins?
Sure.
So
why not?
Why not? Right? You would think so, but I don't know if they were tested all that great in this match. They were in a way, but they also had, I don't know. They played well. They took a lot of shots, but will this be consistent week in or week out? Is this kind of those first game kind of hype vibes in a way?
Only time will tell.
Exactly. All right, gentlemen. For the first time ever on this pod, our picks for this upcoming NWSL season. I was surprised that we have never done this before, but yes, we are this time. So I'm going to ask you 5 things. I also have Tony's picks, as if you listen to the last pod.
Yep. Hey, Tony, by the way, thanks for covering for me while I was gone, bro. Much appreciated.
So the first of the 5 questions that we will pick from. Winner of the Shield. Blake, who you got?
I have a theme. My theme is newness. I'm going to go with Kansas City Current since they are in their new stadium. That they take the Shield.
I like it. Ron?
Portland.
Safe pick. I agree with Blake though. I think Kansas City. Now here's the thing. Debinho went off injured, could be out until late April. That's a big loss for them. They stay healthy. I think they win the Shield. You also have, what's his name? Former U.S. women's national coach. Completely forgot his name all of a sudden.
Oh,
God almighty.
Totally
right.
gone.
Just
hold on, I have to.
There's people yelling in their cars right now. His name,
yeah. Or do we all just blank that out of our memory?
We all, yes. For me, my God. Anyways, he is a Ron Google searches. It's not anywhere popped up on the Google search.
Google forgot about him.
Oh my God.
Andonovski.
Yes, thank you. Samsonite. Way off.
God.
Anyways, he great regular season coach, but we saw what he did in some knockout stages. So I don't know if that's going to translate well to the playoffs here, but we'll see. So I'll also go Kansas City for the winner of the Shield. Tony, listen to this, y'all. Tony went with the Chicago Red Stars. Mind you, they finished last in the league last year.
But they've made a lot of moves.
They've made some good moves. They got some players back, right? And to his point, he said Mal is back. They've made some strong moves in the offseason. Nair is playing the best football of her life, and they have a great manager. So, okay. All right. Good pick there. Good pick there. Moving on. And I'll just kind of stick and I'll go in reverse order and give you Tony's as if Red Stars are going to win the Shield, he's going with Mallory Swanson to win the MVP.
Oh, interesting.
Ron, what do you got?
Sophia Smith.
That's like safe again. Safe again. Hell. I'm a little lost right now.
We'll go to Blake and come back.
Yeah, we'll go to Blake, come back. That's a good.
The MVP we're at right now, right?
Sure.
MVP, I think you added an N into her name because it wants to autocorrect you that way. But Asasat, I'm probably still saying it wrong, but Asasat Ashola from Bay FC, their new signing, as MVP.
Okay. All right. I like it.
ASISAT.
Yep. And as MVP, not Golden Boot, correct?
MVP.
Okay. I think I'm going to go, if she stays fit, Dabinia as MVP.
Interesting.
But she has to stay fit. That is key. Absolutely key. All right. Moving on. We'll start in reverse order with Golden Boot. Blake, take us away.
In my theme with newness, which Ashiola was obviously his MVP, was his new signing. So newness. Going with newness. I'm taking a swing. Number 1 pick in the NWSL draft. I'm going to go with Ali Sentnor to come out swinging and take the Golden Boot out of the Royals.
And did she get? No, she didn't get on the score sheet. They didn't score, but I think she had a really good debut.
She did.
I will go Sophia Smith as Golden Boot, which probably makes her MVP as well. But it's hard with a Morgan Weaver, Sam Coffey, a Haley McCutcheon there now, coming over from Chelsea. They got enough. The problem for Portland, we'll talk about here in a bit, but their defense is just patchy. But yeah, I'll go Sophia Smith for Golden Boot. Ron?
I'm going to go with what I said in the last pod, Jaden Shaw.
Tony was on the last pod as well, and he's going to join you in that, and he's going to go Shaw as well. So you guys must see something. Listen, she had a great Gold Cup.
Right.
You know, they played in the Challenge Cup before, but a very good showing for San Diego. She also has linked up well with Alex Morgan. So, okay. I can see it. I can certainly see it. All right. Now, a bit different than any of our other picks, but team to make the playoffs this season that didn't last season. Here's the teams that you have to choose from. You cannot choose Bay FC and Utah as they weren't even in the league last year. So you have to choose one of these 5 teams that were in the league last year that did not make the playoffs. And if I'm not mistaken, the playoffs have been expanded to 8 teams. But the teams that did not make the playoffs last year are Orlando Pride, Washington Spirit, Racing Louisville, Houston Dash, Kansas City Current, Chicago Red Stars. If you only had to choose one and you had to bet your house on it, who would that one
we
team
live in
be?
Florida, so they can't come after our house.
More time. Pride, Louisville. What was our list?
Good Lord.
Chicago.
Yeah. Dash, Kansas City, Spirit, Pride.
Well, I picked Kansas City for my shield, so
It's a fair point there, Blake.
in a way,
That's a fair point. Yeah.
if I could pick another, I will not pick Orlando Pride because I picked Orlando City in the MLS and they're wretched right now. So I'm not even going to pick. Love you, Orlando Pride. I'm not even going to pick you. Not even going to pick you.
The beautiful jinx.
I'm not going to throw the beautiful jinx your way. No way. I'll go Racing Louisville if I have to pick another one.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Then I think that's where you were going to go. But Racing Louisville it is.
Louisville.
You got to like swallow half the word.
Racing Louisville. I would rather take Kansas City not winning the Shield for Orlando Pride to make it into the playoffs. So I will take our Orlando Pride. And
if the jinx falls on you now.
Hey, listen, hold on. Tony mentioned this, a jinx to us before, but guess what that SOB chose? Orlando Pride as well. Oh. So we're both going Orlando Pride.
He gave us a bunch of stick on the last one.
He did, exactly. But he went with our Pride. So Ron, out of those 5, who you got?
Kansas City Current.
Yeah, I think it's a see. But here's the thing: for them, and I've mentioned it so many times, they got to stay healthy. They stay healthy. Oof. All right,
Madden. They got to stay healthy and score more goals.
Teams. The ball goes by at the back of the net. They score goals. They win games. It's as easy as that.
But before you move on, I watched a hilarious comedian who is a soccer fan talking to a bunch of diehard football NFL fans. And he was saying, America's upcoming in soccer and all these boos rang out. And he's like, I don't understand why you guys don't like soccer so much. And somebody's like, the score sucks. And he's like, oh, the score sucks, huh? Okay. That's fair. It's like 2-3. Okay. But you realize that an NFL game is pretty much the same, except you just made up all the extra points. You got into the end zone 3 times and you made it 21. No, the score is 3-2.
Yes.
It's hilarious. Him just kind of laying waste to these folks. It's quite entertaining.
It's wild how math really does make it feel more exciting. If you want to make the argument about basketball or something, totally different conversation. Right. But like, yeah.
He's like, it's 3-2.
That would be the one I would make. Would be basketball would be the choice over football in that respect. But
it's just hilarious. So anyway, sorry,
love it.
I digress.
All right, who wins the championship? And I'll start off here with Tony because I agree with him. Mind you, we haven't talked a whole lot of Gotham right now. This is a lot of people's favorites this season, right? To win the Shield, to win the whole thing, all the signings they made and whatnot. Yeah, but I will say, along with Tony, San Diego Wave wins the championship. As I think, to Tony's point, they will handle the playoffs a bit better. I will also go with from top to bottom. They have just a very strong core there, from the goalie position with Sheridan to Gurma in that defense, defender of the year last year. You have a very strong midfield in there as well. The name I just had completely went away for the second time this pod. Then you also have Alex Morgan and Jaden Shaw up there as well. So with that kind of core that's on that team, I think they will handle the season pretty darn well. And the names I forget in terms of the midfielder consist of Danny Colaprico, Jacobson, who's mainly an attacker, but kind of will play in that midfield. Savannah McCaskill, big off-season signing for them. So they have a lot going there, and that's why myself and Tony think that they're going to win the championship. Ron?
I am firmly entrenched in a Gotham repeat.
Oh,
with
you were the first one to do it.
Yep, off-season signings of Lavelle, Sonnet, Dunn, Tierna Davidson. They're just stacked.
One, can they stay healthy? And they're going to be pillaged during all of the internationals.
That's every other team in the league. Can you stay healthy or not?
I know.
It's every single
You're
team.
right, but
So
Okay.
while you're over there sporting about your stay healthy,
Yeah.
it's the same thing for every single team.
Okay.
As you pointed out in the Premier League portion, every team has injuries.
Yeah, I did. Blake, what say you?
In the spirit of staying with the newness theme, I'm going to go with Bay FC.
Dang, you're high on them, eh?
Wow.
With Peter Albertin Montoya leading the way. I think they're going to have a really good year. I think they've come out to do it, and I'm just going to make my theme be new for my picks this go round.
There you go.
Okay.
Can't be worse than any other thing I've tried for any other picks that I.
Yes, exactly.
Fair enough.
Did Ron finally not pick Sheffield right? Then that thing this year too.
Yeah.
Something
Are
like
going to
that,
get relegated.
They are
For
going to
5
get
years
relegated.
running. He's picked Sheffield.
Same thing that happened to Southampton.
Yeah. For years. But, gentlemen, Antony, we have our picks recorded. They are locked in. No changes.
No takesy backsies.
No takesy backsies. Damn right. Darn tootin'. And that is your La Liga's roundup.
Every time I hear that, that's what I was. Maybe little Ghost Riders in the sky going.
Right.
All right, gentlemen, let's wrap us up with a little beer picks. I did not do beer this go round. I started with a neat Weldon Mills Reserve from Weldon Mills Brewery and moved on to Weldon Mills, their Weldon Orchard Peach Elderflower flavored whiskey mixed with a little ginger beer for my brews this evening, or my drinks this evening, I should say.
Nice. We went from a Melbourne, Australia independent beer company called Hawkers. We had their West Coast IPA, which was 7.2 on the old ABVs. Seriously passionate beer, says they.
Damn good. I wish I had a second.
It was quite good.
Ron, by the way, on the ginger beer front, 'cause I know you're a ginger beer fan as well because you like spicy stuff.
Yeah.
But they have got, Reed's has a new version that they're like, don't drink this in the bottle, pour it out because there's nothing but chunks of ginger in the bottom. Glopping out of it. It is so spicy and so delicious. Makes it a fantastic dark and stormy.
Oh, yes.
Just if you're wondering.
Okay.
Ferris, you got us a Zlatan quote.
Tell me when to stop.
Boom.
Oh, you have to tell me again because I just pictures. So hold on. Ready?
And stop.
Okay. So Zlatan gives tips on how to be like him.
Oh,
Master your name. Master your man stare. I have mine. Make sure you find yours. So then people will be afraid of you.
That's friggin' that might be one of my favorite ones we've ever done. Highlight that bad boy.
master your man stare. That's
Man
brilliant.
There. That is friggin', that's so him.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Blake.
Hey, follow us on the socials, on the Brutal Games. Follow us on the Untapped, where we'll be putting all these delicious drinks up. Leave us a review on the Apple Podcast, wherever you listen to us, and let us know. We'll get a fun koozie or something out in the mail to you. Perhaps a magnet or a sticker your way. Oh, you got something there, Ron?
Yeah, just before you get into your dad joke, make sure you go back and listen to the pod from last week because I sat in the Blake chair for the dad joke.
Excellent.
And
It was a big wind up.
and it was quite a good wind up. You would have been proud. It tied into a central theme of the pod and was a fairly decent joke.
I'll go fairly decent, sure.
All right. Well, I don't have a wind up, but let's see how this goes for decent. I need some help though. I got my Irish friend Blake McBraswell over here.
Oh, God. There we go.
All right, laddie, since we just had St. Patrick's Day, I got a wee bit of a question for you. Do you know why when we make chilies over in Ireland, do they only have 239 beans in the recipe? Because if they had one more, it'd be 240.
Nice.
Cilantro, my friend.
Excellent. And every Irish listener turned us off. Perfect. Well, gentlemen, good to be back on the pod with you. There we go. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brutal Game.